Hello again, Jeremy Bird here. So this is part 2 in the MS symptom relief routine. The last video was about, just to recap, the 4 acupressure points for general purposes to help with the symptoms related to that people go through while dealing with MS. In this video, we're going to do the NLP anchor part of it. And we're going to use an affirmation from the book, You Can Heal Your Life, and it's written by Louise Hay. She's amazing, God rest her soul, but her works are still here for us to use, so this is good. This is a great tool to help in the healing process. This half of it, there's so many different aspects to healing our body and going through situations, especially like MS. So the NLP anchor is a way to create a neurological connection between a stimulus and a response. So the powerful aspect of this tool is we can start to get rid of old beliefs, old ways that we feel about ourselves and about situations that are very negative, right? So we need to replace those in order to move forward with the positive aspects of healing. Now it's really important here to mention the great part about this anchoring technique that I'm going to kind of guide you through is you can insert, once you get the pattern down and the routine down, you can insert anything that you want to replace over old patterns of belief, behaviors, or emotions stuck and trapped, and just the ones that are holding you down. So Louise Hayes, she has a ton of great affirmations, and actually she's got a whole index you can find on the internet where it has specific affirmations that deal with common conditions, right? There's a whole run of them, and it's a whole other video to get into. But for today, we want to focus on releasing any of these negative emotions that we have in order to instill in place the positive ones. Of course, when you remove energy, you have to replace it with something else. And so we want to replace it with the better positive aspects of it. And this is this part of it is very important. So common negative emotions that come up, is fear, anger, shame, and guilt. So what we have to do is we have to in place its positive counterpart instead of it. So for instance, in this case, fear, part of me would be safety, anger would be joy, shame would be worthiness, and guilt would be forgiveness. So we want, it's kind of that polar opposite, but we're looking for the better end of the spectrum here. So for now, in this video, let's start the anchoring process. We're going to use our heart. So you can use one hand or you can use two, whatever you're drawn to. We're going to use the heart as the anchoring point for this because it has such a strong magnetic field, but it's also integral to access our heart in order to heal from situations. In order to do this, we also have to start releasing the negative aspect of the healing process to be open and ready to be able to heal, be open to heal. So there's a lot of fear tied to illness and disease, going through it, what's going to come, am I going to pull through, what's it doing to my family? All of these things don't serve us. And we really have to start addressing the fact that this condition isn't who we are, it's just something that we're experiencing. So we want to help release the fear before we insert any positive things, any positive anchors, so that the anchors stick. A very wonderful, quick way to get through this and to move past these negative aspects, it's called bilateral therapy. Now there's a few different places that you can get it. EMDR is a new therapy that's come out in the late 80s that uses this bilateral therapy. And then there's other tools like BrainTap, which is an actual goggle and auditory system that's been developed that you wear, and this tool does the work for you. The wonderful thing about these things is they're based on the science that was discovered by the EMDR therapists. Bilateral therapy has two key aspects that I use. There's a visual aspect, and then there's an auditorial aspect. So what we're going to do is, while we're in our chair, the simple long and short of it is, all we need to do is start looking right and left, right and left, right and left. And now if you're having some trouble keeping kind of stable, going back and forth like that, you can do this with your eyes closed. It works equally as well. And then we're going to enter an I release statement, a bunch of them, to get at whatever specifically is weighing you down with regards to this condition that you're going through. And then as we're doing these release statements, we're going to introduce snapping of the fingers on both sides while we're looking back and forth and while we're speaking. Now, the really cool thing about this is the science behind it is wonderful. What we're actually doing when we're looking left and right, and when our attention is going auditorially from right to left over and over, is we're effectively shutting down the amygdala, the fear, fight, flight, or freeze response part of our brains. So when we get to the edge of fear, when we get to the edge of anger, when we get to the edge of traumas and PTSD, the brain really attaches to it, and we have that whole system and emotion of it's time to fight, it's time to run, or I'll just shut down. So the really cool thing about this therapy is it actually shuts down that response. It actually shuts down the brain's ability to deal with that, because it perceives it as we're moving forward through this traumatic or past event, emotion, or situation. And so by doing that, and we use our releasing statements, we're actually shutting that down. We're giving our subconscious brain a different way to perceive that exact situation. And therefore, we're desensitizing, we're releasing, we're removing that from us, body, mind, and soul. And at that point, now we can enter the positive affirmations. So again, right to left, releasing statements, and then clicking the ears. So let's sit down. And again, like in the last video, very important to breathe, very controlled, slow down. You want your exhale in these instances to be longer than your inhale, trying to ditch all that energy and stuff. So let's begin. We're gonna close our eyes or keep them open, whatever you're comfortable with. And right to left, right to left, right to left. And we're gonna say in this instance, I release fear. I release the fear that doesn't serve me. I release the fear that doesn't serve me. Right to left, right to left. I release the fear of my condition. I release the fear of my loss. I release the fear of my past. And now start clicking right to left, right to left. I release the fear. I release the fear of this condition. And whatever you feel that you need to say here, just please insert. I release the fear of da da da. Okay. Eyes forward. Let it come back to you. Breathe through it and out of it. A couple good controlled deep breaths for me, please. Now what I want you to do is close your eyes, and either one hand or two hand, however you feel. What I want you to start doing is I want you to think of a moment in your life where you had complete joy. Be there in that moment. Remember the faces or the sounds or the smells. If it was warm, sunny, rainy, however, try and put yourself there. And also I want you to remember a time in your life of total love. Watching your dog play with a stick, a hug from grandma or grandpa, whatever moment that you can center on. And now I also want you to start thinking about those times in your life where you were safe and you felt very free. Now hold those, keep your eyes closed, and what I want you to do is breathe through it. Enter those feelings into your body. and I want you to repeat after me. By choosing a loving, joyous thought, I create a loving, joyous world. And I am safe and free. By choosing loving, joyous thoughts, I create a loving and joyous world. I am safe and free. One more time. By choosing a loving, joyous thought, I create a loving, joyous world. I am safe and I am free. Okay, so open your eyes, come on back. Now, like the previous video, the more that you can practice the routine, the easier and easier it gets. So especially with the bilateral therapy part of this, you can do similar with the anchoring. You can insert whatever you want to work on. So if you have anxiety is just fear of the future. It hasn't quite come back. So, release my anxiety. I release where I'm at. I release the fears that have not happened yet. Statements like that. If you're having troubles building any of those statements, or would really like to work on this consistently all the time, please feel free to get a hold of us. The contacts and our contact information is in the link below. Whole sessions on this is very wonderful. We can pair it with some other aspects of what we do. But please rewind the video, get used to the routine, and make it work for you. Whatever resonates with you and whatever you feel you need to work on, keep it up. Just a reminder again, those words and this style of this anchoring routine and releasing technique was specific for MS and MS symptoms. So for any other guidance or just to reach out and say hello, please get a hold of us. Thank you very much and stay blessed.